Hello, fabulous superstar Cancer. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of July 2018. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. What an amazing month it is. In fact, I've been very excited to tell you about this month since the start of the year, because it was, of course, in the 2018 video that a lot of people downloaded on my website and is in the superstar space to this day. Well, I spoke about the things that are happening this month. And what is that? Well, it's an eclipse in your sign. Now, if we're going to be technical about it, right, this is considered an almost eclipse, if you will. So why is that? Well, the eclipses intimately involve the nodes of the moon as part of what makes an eclipse phenomenon. Now, if we get really precise, the node, the north node in particular, is not yet in your sign. That will happen later this year. However, the nodes are enough involved with the celestial phenomenon to make this an eclipse, and to make it an eclipse in your sign for that matter. Now, this is a solar eclipse, and this is all about new beginnings, brand new things showing up for you, and really a brand new you. Now, sometimes eclipses can really take us by surprise. They can be quite the shock, if you will. Like all of a sudden, here's this new opportunity, here's this whole new path, and you've got some of that. But I actually think if you reflect back the last few weeks, in particular, reflect back to late May, late June, what was happening was you had some similar phenomenon, not an eclipse, but you had Venus having similar conversations, and then Mercury having similar conversations. And of course, now here comes this eclipse. So what are those conversations? Well, this had to do with creating what is called a grand trine. Now, as it sounds, it's big, right? But it's also supremely harmonious. And this is a connection between this eclipse and Neptune and Jupiter. And this sets up an energy that is supremely healing, fortunate, and just downright positive. At the same time, Pluto is standing across the sky from this eclipse, and that adds power, that adds intensity. Jupiter, interestingly, is actually going to be standing still in the sky and changing directions right around the same time, only adding that much more power and that much more fortunate energy to this mix. And of course, you are the one who is getting the greatest blessings of this time of great blessings. Now, when you have an eclipse in your sign, as you are about to find out, not only this month, but you will find out even more once we get you into, full on having the north node in your sign for an extended period of time. And I'll talk about that when we get there. But suffice it to say, for right now, this can be a time that redefines you. But more importantly, this is going to be a time that shows you and points to you and lets you know the way towards your redefinition. Because remember, it's an eclipse, yes, but it's also an almost eclipse. And so what that means is there are these bigger changes, sweeping changes coming up for you as we get towards the end of the year, but especially 2019, 2020, big years for you. And I'll talk about that when we get there. But for now, this is really the beginning. This is the beginning of you becoming whom it is that you can be in a higher, more loving vision for your life. Now, when we involve the nodes, right? Because the nodes of the moon, I am huge on the nodes. I love the nodes. I do classes on the nodes in person, online. And that's because to me, they are so important. They really are about aligning us with the desire and the intention of the soul. So it goes beyond just what you think you want and why you want it, but it goes to a deeper level. What is it that the soul desires to do with this lifetime? What did you promise yourself you would do before you incarnated? And how, as part of the mystery, do events transpire? You meet people, people go, people come, as part of you moving in this direction of learning the things that you are most meant to learn on a spiritual level over the course of this lifetime. Eclipses leap you in that direction, in the right direction at that, and they leap you towards the awareness of this deeper spiritual reality playing out in your life. Now, there's something else that's a little bit unusual, and I'll come back to the eclipse in your sign in just a second. But here's the thing. Normally you get 2 eclipses back to back, and that's it. And that opens up what's called eclipse season. It's a 2-week portal of time where the ancients said the veil between the worlds was especially thin. And it makes it that much easier to recognize the spiritual lessons playing out, the spiritual journey that you're on in this life, to recognize also what some of the higher blessings and learnings are for you, but also to access wisdom, the wisdom of yourself, the wisdom of your ancestors, however you understand it. It becomes that much easier and opens up to you that much easier. So now we are going to have not just 2 eclipses with a 2-week portal, but we'll have 3 eclipses back to back with about a month in total, this portal opening up. And that means that you really are stepping into a time that is going to be very revealing to you. And mostly because it starts with the eclipse in your sign, it reveals you to yourself. So I feel like when there's eclipses in your sign, I have said this before to people when they have eclipses in their sign, I have seen all kinds of things happen. Really, it's just about the light bulb going on. And people, they realize they are no longer who they were. And so life must change. When you change and your understanding of your identity and the things that matter to you most, the things that matter to you first, when that changes, you change. You must change as a result. And so I have seen all kinds of things. I've talked about it before. I remember one person went vegan, very passionately so. Another person was vegan for 10 years and had these eclipses, and they started eating meat again. She said it had served its purpose. That was her journey. I have seen people quit using drugs, no longer smoking weed. I have seen people, who are very rebellious against all kinds of things, all of a sudden realize that they wanted a different path for themselves. I've seen people who, followed the straight and narrow, all of a sudden realize that's not the path for them. And so big changes can come about at this time, but ultimately what it comes down to, and especially at a time like this, especially with an eclipse like this, is that it is ultimately deeply personal and deeply meaningful to you. And it ultimately is about you realizing some truth about yourself and where it is that you haven't been wanting to admit some truth about yourself or live in alignment with some truth about yourself. And so when that light bulb goes on, you must change. And that is part of the promise of this month. So this eclipse happens right around the 12th. I might have said already, Jupiter is going to be standing still in the sky at the same time and changing directions. So that fortune element is that much more magnified. And there's this sense now of you coming, really, there's a phrase that says coming into your own. This is you coming into your own in a way that you just didn't know before. And the new beginnings are very much a part of this. You knowing yourself with a different way than you have before is very much a part of this energy as well. So it is a lot to look forward to. Be open, really. The best thing about the eclipses is they take you by surprise. In this case, it's intense, yes. However, it is also very fortunate as well. Now let's move forward to the second eclipse that happens in the last days of the month. And that is happening in a different part of the sky. But interestingly, there's a lot of interesting things about this eclipse. For one thing, it is having very different conversations in the sky. This is an eclipse that is happening close to Mars. Now all month, Mars is retrograde. And this is activating some of those Mars retrograde lessons for us. And it is also speaking with Uranus as well. So there's this very surprise, very quick, almost urgent factor as part of what changes for us. But also compared to the eclipse in your sign, the eclipse in your sign is a solar eclipse. It's new beginnings, new people, new understandings. It's just like this whole new path opening up for you. However, this is a lunar eclipse happening in the later part of the month, and that means that it's about closure, healthy closure at that. And it is happening in a part of the sky that has to do with endings, like endings that you choose. And this can be a truly important time for you on a few levels. So one is, this is a time where You realize some of your own inner motivations. You know, they say good people can play games too, right? And I think there was a bestseller way back in the day called The Games People Play, right? These ultimately are, you know, we set up these sort of psychological patterns and we live them out. And even if consciously we say we want one thing, we're actually doing things to recreate certain patterns with the people around us. Well, this is your epiphany. This is your insight. This is your realization of where it is that you've been playing out, whether it's a character or whether it is some role that you've been playing out that you don't need to anymore. And this can be so encouraging, so liberating. And again, it takes me back to this idea of you coming into your own and coming into your truth in a way that you may not have known before. Now, of course, as I said, chances are there's going to be a lot of passion, there's going to be a lot of urgency, there's going to be a lot of surprise with this. So that awareness is going to come on and be like, oh, wow, okay, I didn't know that was in me. But ultimately, this is going to allow you the closure that on a soul level you truly are ready for. The other part of this is having to do with your relationship with financial institutions. So this can be a very powerful time in terms of redefining and changing your relationship on that level. Remember, there's that surprise factor as well. Now, keep in mind, this can go a lot of different ways, but also, keep in mind that you've been having eclipses in this part of the sky. And the thing is, when we have such strong energy placed on what is happening on a financial front, it means that the money you need is there. It's just that the money is a symbol of some deeper spiritual lesson that you need to understand within yourself. And that's why you're having to pay attention to it, but the money you need is there. Just follow the lesson and everything will come together. So it may be that very quickly you have to pay attention to a financial matter with a financial institution, and you will do that. Now, what I'm really excited about this though, is that it is about awareness. That lunar eclipse has awareness written all over it for you. As I said, you've had eclipses in this part of the sky this year, last year, right? Even a little bit the year before you felt this energy as well. But now, here we are. And you are starting to wrap up this energy, okay? So there's just a little bit more to go. But yes, you've had to pay attention to some financial matters. Some of you have manifested this energy in that way. And it's about putting your relationship with financial institutions in their right place. I will tell you, I learned one of these lessons years and years ago. This was when I had just finished university and I was there was some error on a bill with my cell phone or something, and I was so stressed out about this. Like, this was just really very just taking so much of my energy and so much of my time and trying to sort this out and trying to figure out who can help me with this. And I remember being in bed and worried about this, and all of a sudden I sat right up and I realized they can't take what really matters. They can't. Like, whatever could happen with that cell phone bill that was an error and was corrected, they can't take what really matters. And what really matters was me and my life, my well-being, that I can live another day, that I have hope for another day. That's what really matters, not this, drama around a cell phone bill. And it's amazing because, like, literally within 2 days, the thing was all solved and gone. Like, it was just like, okay, yes, it was our error, it's done. So that's amazing. But that to me was such a profound lesson, to keep certain things in their right place. This may be part of how the lesson manifests for you, or in other ways as well. But ultimately, you will find the solution and you will get to the spiritual lesson, which is what the nodes really are about. Now, where it comes to matters of heart and matters of love, of course, look, when you have an eclipse in your sign, it's a big deal. And it can redefine relationships as well, because you are seeing yourself differently. With Pluto in your opposite sign, chances are that some of this awareness is going to come about as a result of your interaction with another person, possibly your partner or someone that you are attracted to. If you are open to meeting someone new, look, stay open. It's a good thing. Jupiter is going direct in a very flirty part of your sky. In the process of flirtation, you could connect with somebody and it ends up being a deeply meaningful interaction in some way. Now, personally to you, it helps you to see yourself differently, which is the blessing and which is the gift. But also with Jupiter going direct in general, it means that you've got a few more months of blessings where it comes to matters of heart and love and flirtation and enjoying your life and attracting love as a result. If you are in an established bond, again, it could very well be an exchange with your partner, sharing with your partner, that is part of what opens you up to an awareness which lends itself to a change that you are ready for. But remember, yes, there's intensity around this. May not necessarily feel comfortable, but there's something very necessary because it is going to get you in touch with your power. And in that way, the exchange you have with your partner truly is a great gift. Not only in that moment, but as a result of the moment and what you do with it. What I love about this sky for you, what I love about this month for you, well, look, it's a bunch of things. Of course, it's the eclipse in your sign. I spent a lot of time talking about that this month because it is a really big deal. And it's going to be a conversation I have with you again as we move forward with this, and you'll start having a series of eclipses in your sign, particularly, as I said, next year, the year after, you will feel this energy. And I'll be having a conversation like this with you again. It's just that this time, there's something very special about how the energy is playing out. It is particularly intense. It is particularly fortunate as well. There's a lot of luck with you at this time. And you can take that sense of what is good and what is hopeful and apply it to a sense of truly a new you that feels right and that feels real. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this every week by logging on to astrofabulous.com or nadiyashah.com. Sign up to be one of my superstars. Superstars get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.